evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson Tonight. Amazingly, it was just over a week ago that Joe Biden single-handedly ended gun violence in the United States. How'd you miss that? Well, you probably were distracted by all the other amazing things Joe Biden is doing, like making air travel more efficient and winning the war in Ukraine. So you probably weren't paying attention on June 25th when a law called the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act was signed. And it, true to its name, was in fact bipartisan. Fashionably liberal Republicans like John Cornyn helped write it. So the question is, will it live up to the second half? Will it make communities safer? Emphatically, yes, said Joe Biden, quote, it's going to save a lot of lives. How many lives exactly? Well, in the characteristically modest words of Connecticut Senator Chris Murphy, quote, what we are doing will save thousands of lives. Thousands. And that makes a kind of sense, because now that we're going to have red flag laws in all 50 states, laws that allow the government to disarm you by force without charging you with a crime, without bothering with due process, once we do that, and we are doing it, mass shootings like the one we saw in Buffalo this spring will never happen again. That's what they promised us, and the media assured us it was true, every word of it. What they never mentioned was it was not only ridiculous and false, it was provably false, because actually gun control does not stop bad people from using guns. It's not a talking point, it's a fact. Here's how you know. On the day that 18-year-old Peyton Gendron murdered 10 people in Buffalo, the state of New York already had a red flag law. And Gendron was exactly the sort of person they told us that red flag laws would stop from committing mass murder. Gendron had bragged in school, remember, that he wanted to murder large groups of people? That was a red flag, speaking of. He'd already been caught by his mother killing a cat with his hands. Gendron was so obviously crazy and threatening that at one point, New York State police came over and investigated him. But in the end, nothing happened. It had no effect, these laws. And that's not surprising. Ask anyone who knows anything about violence and who isn't getting paid to lie to you about it, and you will learn the truth, which is it's almost impossible to stop someone who's dead set on harming other people. Prison guards get killed regularly. There are no guns in prison. There are plenty of psychopaths. Psychopaths are the problem. In case you need still more evidence, just yesterday on the 4th of July, there was yet another mass shooting in the state of Illinois. Illinois is a state with red flag laws, assault weapons bans, every other form of gun control that authoritarians can dream up in a country that still has a Second Amendment. But the shooting happened anyway. It happened in Highland Park, which is a pretty suburb north of Chicago. And once again, the shooter was exactly the person they claimed red flag laws would stop before he hurt others. His name is Robert Crimo. He's a 21-year-old amateur rapper with a long and documented history of bizarre and very threatening behavior. And on Monday, he lived up to what everyone who knew him thought he might someday do. He dressed in women's clothes. He scaled a fire escape ladder to the roof of a local business, and then he opened fire on a parade. Here's what it looked like. So awful. As cited, authorities say 7 people have died from that shooting. At least 36 others are wounded. Here's what it looked like from the ground. Good people, terrified, bleeding, in some cases dead on the 4th of July. It's awful.